2 years ago, I went into the hospital thinking my life was over. I went in for a surgery, and when I woke up for the first time in 18 years, I was pain free. Let me tell you, I was scared, but this saved me in more ways than just one.
I went from rock bottom, almost homeless, addicted, and sick to pain free, sober, and actually happy for the first time in years, and I never thought I'd say that.
Welcome to my channel. My name is Dana, and this is the start of something new. Recovery, real talk, what it's really like living with an ileostomy bag, and dealing with recovery after being an addict for almost 10 years. Let's backpedal a little bit. So I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease when I was 10 years old, January 2nd of 2006. Obviously, it was a shock. I mean, most 10-year-olds are in school, playing with their friends, just normal 10-year-old stuff. I, unfortunately, for the last probably 2, 3 years before that, felt like my body was literally giving up on me. Now, I will say in advance, if you get grossed out very easily and you just don't have the stomach for talking about like bodily fluids type of thing, maybe this isn't for you. But if you're open to it, please stay and listen. So let's get into my first experience with having Crohn's disease, but not knowing I had Crohn's disease and how embarrassing it was. At that time, I was actually going to a Catholic school before I ended up leaving and going to public school. I had ran to the bathroom as fast as I could because I could feel I had to go, but I didn't make it. And I knew I didn't make it. And at this time, I'm probably 8 years old, something like that. I'm trying to get myself together and figure out, like, what do I do? Like, an 8-year-old, you don't know what to do. Here comes some of the mean girls in school. Because, yes, even at that age, there's mean girls. All I hear is,
Ew! What is that smell? Ew!
Oh, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die. Oh my god, literally. Oh.
they're all looking around trying to figure out what it is. And here comes another girl.
Dana, it's you. Ew. Oh my god.
Of course, at that time, I was so embarrassed, I literally ran out of that bathroom into the office. Thankfully, at that time, my mother being a single mother, she's at work. Of course, she did leave work a lot of times, and she spent nights in hospitals with me. Don't get me wrong, my mom was there through everything. But when she couldn't be, my grandma always had stuff in her purse. For years, she would carry underwear, wet rags, like whatever I needed, because she knew I was going through something. She carried it with her. So she showed up at school, got me all cleaned up. Everything was good to go. Except I felt embarrassed for the rest of my life, basically. So 10 years old, we're getting to the point where, yes, I need to go get checked out and figure out what's going on. This day, I am like hunched over in pain. I am screaming. My mom's like on the phone trying to figure out like where she needs to go, the ER or my primary or whatever's going on. I go to use the bathroom, but instead of going regular number two, I go a bucket of blood. And that's where my mother rushed me to the ER. I ended up having a colonoscopy, and lo and behold, I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease. Now, if you don't know what Crohn's disease is, it's the inflammation in your intestines. Basically, Crohn's disease can affect anywhere from your mouth down to your number two hole. It's not very fun. It's not just tummy issues and go to the bathroom. I've had a lot more issues, but we'll go into that in more videos. Throughout the years, the first 2 years, I was in and out of the hospital to the point where I actually had to be homeschooled for a little while. But I ended up going back to school eventually. Things were trying to get kind of figured out medicine wise, whatever it was. It took a long time, but eventually in high school, thankfully, I went into remission, and I was in remission for about 4 years. And that was a great time. I mean, remission doesn't mean I'm cured. It just means I'm in recovery and I'm doing a lot better. Now, of course, I still had my days. I didn't go to the hospital as much in those 4 years, but there was times I was in, but I did have the best 4 years of my life. Those last years in high school, I was able to do my normal schooling, and I was in marching band, drumline, guard. I had jobs, just living life as a normal teenager. But on the side, I was also going in for IV infusions of my medicine every 2 months, but it was what it was. Fast forward to after high school, things were okay for a little while, but then when I was 19, I got my first fistula. That was not fun. The easiest way to explain it is like a hole in your colon. They had to go in and fix that and put a Ceton in, which is like this little rubber band, whatever. It was annoying. It was painful, to say the least. But after that surgery, mind you, I've had this disease for 9 years this time. I had never, not once, been prescribed a narcotic to go home with. I've gotten stuff through the IV in the hospital when things were bad, but never at home. This is when everything started spiraling. My Crohn's started getting worse. I started getting more fistulas. I couldn't handle the pain. My disease was just horrible. And we'll get into more details about that too. But unfortunately, I became an addict because of it. I was addicted to prescription pain meds for almost 10 years. Towards the end, this is in 2023, my mom was about to kick me out of the house. And honestly, I don't blame her. I was doing regular, just random driving jobs, delivering food. I wasn't holding down a regular job because I couldn't. I was so sick, and my money would just go to buying what I needed for the pain. But during that time, unfortunately, my grandfather had gotten sick. He had a stroke. And mind you, this was around the same time that I was having the worst flare up of my life. I went to different hospitals, they sent me away. Didn't care, it is what it is. But I was more focused on my grandfather at that time, and I dealt with it until unfortunately he passed away on September 23rd. After the funeral is when we finally went to the hospital that saved my life, placed me with a permanent ostomy bag, and changed everything for me. But of course, after the fact, my body was just not ready to come off the medications. I was, but it wasn't. So I had to get help. I did end up getting the help that I needed, and I am where I am today. I will be sober now for 2 years on December 1st, and I've had my ostomy bag as of 2 years on October 30th. Things are going a lot better than what they were. Obviously, it's, slow and steady wins the race is what they say. I feel a lot better. Now, if you guys enjoyed just a quick story time, please let me know if you want to hear a more in-depth story time, because I will talk about everything. I am an open book, completely honest. Just let me know. But I look forward to seeing you guys again. Thank you so much for the subscribers that I already have, and hopefully we'll continue to get. My goal is to get to the 1,000 mark and to the, I think, 4,000 watch hours in a year, whatever it is. It'd be super nice to get there by the end of the year. Be nice to get there by my birthday, which is November 20th. But again, slow and steady wins the race, but hopefully faster than the other app I was using. But all right, I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.